Hey, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Janet Finch, and I'm the VP of Marketing here at Cloud Institute. And for those of you unfamiliar with Cloud Institute, we are a cloud coaching and training company specializing in certification training for developers, solutions architects, engineers, and other IT professionals. We believe that training is only accessible if the skills that you learn actually transfer into the workplace and help you achieve your goals. So that's why our training products all include hands-on challenge labs where you can practice skills, real skills in safe environments. And we also have personalized one-on-one cloud certification and technology coaching with experts to help you where you need more help, where the self-paced training and labs aren't enough. So thanks again for joining us. Today we are presenting Getting Started with Google Cloud Certifications with Michael Banta. Michael is a Cloud Institute co-founder and our VP of Product. He's really passionate about training and has seen firsthand how the right training can really empower people and teams to achieve their goals. So I'm really excited to have him here with us to share his wisdom today. Quick housekeeping before we start. The webinar runtime will be about 30 minutes. Feel free to ask questions in the chat box, either to the group or to me privately. We'll either answer as we go along or we'll cover them at the end in a Q&A. Later today, you'll receive a link to a replay of this webinar so you can rewatch it or share it with your colleagues. And yes, this presentation deck will be available for you to download. That includes all of the links. So now, without further ado, I'll turn it over to Michael.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jenna. Great to talk to everyone. This is a topic that I'm particularly excited about, and I'll show you why. But I'll go into some more macro statistics and news about the cloud industry, and then we'll get into the Google Cloud certifications specifically. And the reason this is so fascinating, and I've been in different kinds of cloud-oriented or cloud training companies for about 8 years now, and this is a very interesting inflection point we have because cloud has been growing so quickly for almost 10 years or about 10 years, but there's a bit of a shift when it comes to the growth rates right now. And although that Google Cloud is a distant third when it comes to market share, they're growing significantly faster than the top two companies by market share, which is Amazon Web Services #1 and Azure's #2. Google Cloud only has about 9% market share compared to roughly 30 or 33 for the other two. But given any quarter, Google Cloud is growing 45, 50%, and the other two are growing at most 40%. So we see a very big uptake in adoption for Google Cloud, especially as companies are moving to a more multi-cloud or hybrid cloud strategy for their business. And there's a number of reasons for this, which I'll get into very soon. But if you see with some research that we actually commissioned to talk to hundreds of people in companies that have adopted and are adopting cloud services, Google Cloud is also the skills that are most in demand. They are followed closely by AWS and Azure, but there are a number of key reasons that companies are adopting Google Cloud and find so much value in it, and that's why the skills are in such high demand. Now, it may not surprise you, given that background, that Google Cloud certifications tend to command the highest salary of any cloud certifications that exist, even though they're a distant third in market share. Specifically, that Google Cloud Certified Professional Cloud Architect, I mean, that salary is $231,000 on average. So it could be higher in some cities, and typically the GCP certifications are really going to provide a lot of value, not only to the individual, since they command such a high salary, but also to the business. because they're going to have some extremely talented people working for them. Now, this is building off a few things that I mentioned earlier about what's really the genesis or the reason that people are flocking to Google Cloud. And it's all of these things here. Availability and uptime is definitely the best out of the big three cloud providers. Migration of virtual machines, that is very flexible. Uptime monitoring, global infrastructure, unrivaled throughput. That number 5 is particularly impactful for businesses adopting cloud services. And the list goes on and on. Now, all of these links are actually going to be hyperlinked. So when you do get a copy of this presentation, you can go in and click on any of those to find out some more details of why this is such an advantage for Google Cloud and why it leads companies to adopt Google Cloud at a higher rate than other cloud services. Now we'll get into the certifications here, and I want to preface that Google is a bit different in how they structure their cloud certifications. Probably the biggest difference that you may see in this infographic is that they have an enormous amount of professional certifications, looks like 9 or 10, and then they only have one foundational and one associate. And that is very unique. Both AWS and Azure tend to have quite a good number of foundational and associate level certifications, where Google is really focused on, should you earn one of our certifications, it is a very high level of competency. In addition to that, these professional level certifications, or even the associate cloud engineer, they are proctored in a much more unique way than many of the Azure or AWS certifications, meaning there's a lot more hands-on experimentation and lab-oriented questions as opposed to just a multiple choice. Google wants to make sure that you not only know the right answer, but you know the best way to get there. And that really puts a lot of emphasis on why these professional certifications command such a high salary, is because it's not your typical exam. It is much more involved. So let's go through these one by one to give you a little background of what it takes to pass them, some information on the time it takes, the cost of each one, and also a person who earns each of these certifications, what is it that they do? And then we'll start off on the more foundational side and progress to the professional level ones. Cloud Digital Leader, best for folks who are certainly new to cloud in general or Google Cloud. You do not have to have any hands-on experience with the Google Cloud platform. And this is often pretty helpful for folks who are not necessarily in IT. So it could be salespeople, it could be marketing people, it could be general managers or leaders of the business that just want to understand why Google Cloud is valuable and what it really brings to the business and how it makes the business more nimble. So this one, of course, is going to be the most affordable one, $100, only lasts at most an hour and a half. But this still lets folks know that you understand why cloud and Google Cloud specifically is so crucial to developing and implementing a cloud strategy. In the Cloud Engineer Associate, this is where the more technical aspects come in regards to Google Cloud certifications. This is really geared towards those who are software engineers who code and develop on a regular basis. And those who are in the certification, they're going to understand how you set up a cloud environment, how you're able to deploy and implement those solutions in the cloud, and also be able to configure the security aspects of Google Cloud specifically. And that's a pretty key one. The security aspect of cloud computing is a common theme that you'll find through a lot of certifications because it's so crucial with how scalable cloud computing is to have a good foundation of the security aspects and identity access management of your cloud environments. So this one's going to be $125 and last you around 2 hours. And then this will let your employers or employers let your employees or candidates know that they are above that foundational level, but certainly able to work effectively in Google Cloud on a daily basis. And as I mentioned earlier, there's only 2 lower level certifications, so the rest are going to be professional. And this is really where a lot of rubber hits the road and shows extraordinary competency with different disciplines within Google Cloud. Now, this data engineer professional, this is going to be for your data scientists, your data engineers, those who are focused on leveraging all the data that your company has in the best way to help that company make better decisions. So someone who has this is going to be collecting, processing, monitoring your data systems, and even be able to create those machine learning models. They'll be able to design, build, secure, monitor data processing systems. And as I mentioned earlier, security is crucial, and this puts an additional emphasis on security as well. This is, even out of the professional level certifications, this is a pretty tough one. So it is going to take a good amount of studying along with experience in Google Cloud to really be able to pass this exam. $200, 2 hours, but these professional exams is really where that average jump in salary is very visible. You see it with about $171,000 for people who own this certification. Now, the the professional cloud architect certification. This is the one I touched on earlier that actually commands the highest salary of any cloud certification. People who earn this certification, I actually have a friend here in Austin, Texas, who owns this certification, and he recently moved to a new company. They reached out to him specifically because he had this certification, and he has not stopped getting blown up for other job roles because people who have this certification are in just extraordinary demand since many companies are adopting Google Cloud so quickly. These skill sets are absolutely crucial to adopting Google Cloud effectively and efficiently. Now, that said, this is definitely focused on your experienced IT professionals, your architects who have multi-years of experience, your developers, really all of your software engineers and architects that have a good amount of experience working within cloud platforms, specifically Google Cloud. This is really geared towards them. Now, you will have to have a lot of in-depth knowledge about GCP services when you take this certification exam, but the reason it's so crucial is because it really enables businesses. I should back up. The reason it's so important and so valuable is it really helps organizations and businesses adopt and leverage all of the value of Google Cloud in an effective and efficient way. These people design, developed, and architect solutions, and they're really in control of that cloud adoption design. How do we use Google Cloud in the best way? What tool should we use, this is what that professional cloud architect would do. Again, $200, about 2 hours, and that's a pretty common theme throughout the professional certifications. And as I mentioned earlier, the highest salary of any certification at $231,000. And again, it's not an easy one, so be sure to study hard if you do want to pursue that one. Now, the Cloud Developer Professional. This is a fantastic one to get for those who are software engineers and developers who are very creative. They code all day long. That's what they love doing. This is a very valuable one for them to learn, particularly for those who have experience in Java and Python, because those folks who love software engineering, they do it regularly, they're typically on the forefront of innovation and technology when it comes to software design and engineering practices. So this is a great one for them to go after, and it'll really sync well with what they enjoy doing and their skills. So it's really going to help you understand how to build scalable, highly available applications in the Google Cloud realm using their best practices and all the tools available to you within Google Cloud. Same exam cost and length, $200, 120 minutes. Not quite as high of an average salary, but still a very valuable certification to get for those software engineers. All right, the Cloud Network Engineer Professional. Now, this is certainly security-oriented, networking-oriented. Now, this is best for those network administrators and the engineers. Typically, you'll need 1 to 3 years of experience within Google Cloud and actually working hands-on within the console, because this is a pretty hands-on certification to pass. And studying and earning the certification is very valuable. It's going to help you understand or prove that you know how to manage and implement these Google Cloud architected solutions like the VPCs and other networking capabilities. Similarly, $200, 2 hours. And what's funny about this one, even though it looks like, even though it is a lower average salary right now, this is a particular certification that has picked up in demand quite a bit in the last 8 to 12 months. So certainly a good one to have if you're in this kind of role. Here's another one that is in particularly high demand. Again, very security focused, as the name implies. Professional Cloud Security Engineer. This is absolutely for those involved in identity access management. You're a software engineer or architect that is security focused. You have several years of experience, especially having a year or two within Google Cloud would be very helpful to pass this exam. And the whole focus of this certification is to prove that you are able to design and implement secure environments and secure infrastructure within Google Cloud. So along with the professional architect that we mentioned earlier, that really designs those environments, the person who is the professional cloud security engineer, they're going to be implementing that design. And so those two will work hand in hand to adopt Google Cloud in the best and most secure way possible. So not only implementing, but managing them as that Google Cloud adoption grows for that company. Same cost and length, $200 in 2 hours, and then a little bit higher of an average salary for $135,000. And this is another one that is growing in demand very, very quickly. So this would be an excellent one to have, especially if you're looking at a couple professional certifications and you're involved in software engineering, particularly towards security. This would be a great certification for you. All right, the professional cloud database engineer. Again, data focused, as the name implies, those database professionals that have probably 2 to 5 years of experience or more are certainly encouraged to go after this certification. This will illustrate your knowledge about designing, managing, troubleshooting Google Cloud databases, specifically used by applications that store and retrieve that data. So it's going to give you a very comprehensive knowledge set around leveraging the database applications within Google Cloud. And this person has a good competency of two separate, or typically seen as separate disciplines, which is the business side and the technical side, because they're gonna here's what we want to accomplish, and then it's their job to build that within Google Cloud, take those technical requirements and business needs to build highly available and cost-effective database solutions. So $200, 2 hours, and $122,000 for the average salary. This is a very good certification to have if you're in the data or database profession. All right, professional cloud DevOps engineer. This is a particularly tough one to pass, so be ready to spend a good amount of time studying and practicing should you want to pursue this certification. This is really geared towards those experienced DevOps engineers and software engineers that probably have 5+ years of experience, and you should certainly have a few years working hands-on within Google Cloud. It's going to help you get set up for success. Just studying and reading alone would be a little tougher for this certification, but this is going to prove, should you pursue it, that that the appropriate development operations within Google Cloud, how to structure those kinds of solutions in the best way, especially between two areas of the business, that very critical IT side, going through networking and security all the way to the operations of what those tools do. So this person is going to be relied upon to build software using the Google Cloud platform. Now, again, $200, 2 hours, and pretty high average salary for this one as well. And I'll repeat myself again, be sure to study hard for this one because it is very hands-on exam. All right, the professional machine learning engineer. As you can probably expect, machine learning is a very involved topic. People who do this in their daily lives are extremely talented. So this is another particularly tough one to pass. But if you are an experienced machine learning engineer and you understand how to prepare and process that data for those machine learning models, this is a fantastic certification to go for. Now you'll really understand the best path forward to design and build these models to solve problems that the business is experiencing. It could be anything from, what market should we target next? How do we reinvent ourselves to pursue a new suite of products? There's a whole ton of opportunities for those who have this kind of skill. $200 in 2 hours, and then it looks like a little lower of an average salary at $107,000, but don't be surprised if you earn this and command a much higher salary than that. Machine learning is very popular, and a lot of companies, frankly, don't use it in the best way, or don't have the people to really effectively build and leverage these models. So this would be very valuable if you're in this discipline.
Hey, Michael, can you go back to that last slide there?
This one?
We have a good question from Christine. She is a machine learning engineer and data scientist, and she's wondering, if the MLE cert is for scaling and productionizing models, is it more tailored for ML ops?
No, not so much ML ops. It's definitely the alternative. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that building and scaling those models is certainly the larger focus. Now, the operations of it is involved, but because it's good to have that well-rounded aspect, but certainly not the majority focus of the exam.
Okay, I hope that answered your question, Christine. Let me know if it didn't. Okay, I think that's the end there. I want to go back to a couple questions. We have a bunch of people who are on this webinar who are just starting out. So Sai is an MS analytics student and looking for part-time positions. I'm sorry, Noelle. Okay, Noelle wants to know, if she's starting from scratch, what is the suggested path to become a professional in the cloud security management?
If you're starting from scratch, then the best path is to really start from the ground when it comes to the certifications. So start with the, I'm going to go back a number of slides. I wish there was a way to just jump back. Let's see here. Yeah, start with the Cloud Digital Leader. This foundation, especially if you're starting from scratch and don't have a ton of experience, this will give you a very good foundation of really what the value is and what services are available and why they're used. So it's really important to have this foundation and be able to talk the talk when you are in interviews or in meetings, and just be able to understand those who are more involved or have more experience. So this would be valuable for that. And then going to a professional level would be a big jump. So highly recommend the Associate Cloud Engineer. It still is going to take some time to practice and learn and study, especially if you do not have any or much experience, but it's absolutely, you're able to accomplish it. It's not anything you should stress out about. Just a little diligence and you'll be able to reach it. And even as you're taking and as you pass this, you'll really understand yourself which direction you want to go personally. Do you still want to focus on the more engineering or architect route? If you enjoyed this exam, it came relatively easy to you, then that would be a good path for you. If you pass it and you're like, it's not that interesting to me, then maybe, security, networking, or DevOps is a better opportunity. So that's kind of I definitely recommend these two. And then after you pass the Associate Cloud Engineer, you'll have a good idea of which direction in the IT space and the hands-on technology space you'll want to go.
Okay, that's good feedback. We have another question from Jonathan, who is a computer engineering student with some Python experience, but no background in cloud. So is starting with Cloud Digital Leader the best place to start? And is it a high demand job?
Since you have no cloud experience, then yes, I would certainly recommend you start with the Cloud Digital Leader. It's, especially you have some Python experience, you understand, the technology that is used in cloud, particularly Google Cloud. Python and Java are pretty popular on those who use Google Cloud. So definitely start here. I think that would be a great option for you, because just as I mentioned earlier, it gives you that fantastic foundation of what is the value and how or why people adopt this platform for that value. And then again, I would also recommend you go for the associate cloud engineer. I think that's going to tailor pretty well to your existing experience in Python, even if it's not a ton. I think that the studying for the associate cloud engineer, I don't want to say it will come easy to you, but I think it will certainly mesh with a lot of your experience and the way your mind works. So those two I would definitely recommend, especially at your stage.
Okay. We are at time, but I've got a couple good questions here that I want to get to. If we didn't get to your question in here, we'll be reaching out shortly after this presentation, and we'll get you answers. Gaurav asks, which certification is good for performance testers and engineers?
Okay, that's an interesting one. Performance testers and engineers. On the non-professional side, this associate cloud engineer would be great. I think if you have the associate and you have a professional, that's going to look very good for you. So I always recommend, it illustrates that you're willing to get a well-rounded knowledge of what you do today and just the overall understanding of a more lower level certification helps people know that you're willing to reach on both sides of making sure there's nothing that you do not know. So highly recommend this as a foundation for that use case. And then I would recommend the professional cloud developer is probably the developer or the network engineer. Those two seem to fit that path.
Okay. And one more here, and I'll answer it. Manish asks where you can get training materials. Can you self-learn, or do you need to enroll for some trainings? So, I'll answer that. In the handout, we do have, we link to some of the coaching and training that Cloud Institute provides, but, there are a lot of options out there. What's different with us is we have coaches, and this is one-on-one personalized coaching. It is not $5,000. It's in the low hundreds of dollars, but one-on-one attention that nobody else does that. So popped on your screen, you can learn more about that if you click on that CTA. It will also be in the handout, which is available for download. And that'll get you started. If you have more specific questions, reach out to me. I'll go ahead and end it here. Again, if I didn't get to your question, we'll get to that today. Look for the replay. I think it's usually sent from DMO platform within a couple of hours. So you will get that. Great participation. Again, a lot of questions. I didn't get to all of you, but I will do that. So thank you for attending.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. I love this topic. I appreciate the questions, and yeah, get after it. A certification or two, it's going to help you tremendously.
Okay, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.